Hello and welcome to another episode of the Do Big podcast. I am your host Sheetal Choksi, and today we're going to discuss the art of customer engagement for SMEs in the digital era. Well, the art or the science refers to the strategies and techniques employed to effectively connect and interact with customers in the modern digital landscape. In a sense, it's about utilizing digital platforms and technologies to engage with customers in meaningful ways that resonate with their needs and preferences. And to throw light on this subject today, we have with us Rachit Jain, the Global Strategic Partnerships Manager at Meta. With over 13 years of experience under his belt, Rachit specializes in crafting and nurturing intricate partnerships and ecosystem strategies for communication platform as a service, CPaaS as it is popularly called, and software as a service, SaaS portfolios on a global scale. Rachit specializes in crafting and nurturing intricate partnerships and ecosystem strategies for communication platform as a service, CPaaS as it is popularly known, and software as a service, SaaS portfolios on a global scale. His expertise lies in enhancing organizational competitiveness through the implementation of on ground strategies, driving incremental revenue, and executing joint marketing initiatives with tier one partnerships, global system integrators, GSIs, technology partners, as well as service partners. In his role, Rachit thrives within a dynamic and collaborative environment, adept at navigating the fast paced evolution of technology. Rachit's overarching mission at Meta is to spearhead CPaaS partnerships and drive exponential growth while empowering individuals and organizations to connect, create, and accomplish more in the digital realm. This encompasses a variety of practices, including leveraging social media, personalized marketing, customer relationship management tools, data analytics, and user experience optimization to cultivate strong relationships, drive customer satisfaction, and ultimately foster business growth. So, welcome, Rajit. And it's an absolute pleasure having you here today with us on the Do Big podcast, where we focus on the needs and preferences of MSMEs in India and around the world. Rachit, before I jump into my first question with you, it'd be great to get to know you a little better. So, I know I've done an introduction, but define yourself as a person. Tell our audience who you are. What is it that you like to do? What does a day off look like?
So, thank you, Sheetal, for having me. And I'll try my level best to do justice to this podcast. So, I am originally from Chandigarh. I've been working in Delhi for a little less than about 8 years now. Primarily, as you sort of mentioned, largely done business development partnerships roles all throughout for different organizations. I think what's really keeping me busy these days is this job that I'm doing full time. Because of this job, I happen to travel extensively and then happen to sort of meet all sort of customers and the partnerships that we sort of been building from last 2 3 years from ground up, right? And then this honestly is sort of a very humbling and a rewarding experience. So this honestly sort of keeps me busy most of the time. When I'm not working, I'm usually sort of spending time at home with my wife or with my friends, eating out. So very very fond of eating out. Make it a point that at least we try 2 or 3 new places every week. And I think few other things that I extensively pursue, which very few folks sort of know about me, is that I am into photography. At least I feel that I click good pictures. So if in case you want to maybe check it out, I can let you know, and then you can decide whether you want to include this or not include it. But this is one thing that I've been doing for about 7 8 years. It's something that has grown a lot. So I try and see and capture world from my perspective. And then I'm a big space geek, so I nerd out on what is really happening in space, and what Elon Musk is doing and what SpaceX is doing, what Jeff Bezos is doing with his own startup for rockets and stuff like that. Yeah. So these are the things that sort of keep me busy. Yeah. But other than that, most of the time it is largely about work.
So that's fantastic. I know who to reach out to next time I'm in Delhi and I want to figure out where to eat. So I'm going to reach out to you for that. And have you booked your seat to the first trip or the second trip or whatever trip to space on SpaceX, or
I'm pretty confident that it's going to cost a lot. Still sort of slogging for that. But yeah, that's on the chart. It's something that I'd love to do someday. But yeah, for now, I'm just sort of saving.
so part of your bucket list, is it?
100%, yes. That's top of the bucket list. That's something that I want to do.
Okay, fantastic. So, coming back to the our topic for today, which is really the art of customer engagement in the digital era, and who better than somebody from Meta, right? So, I just want to get a sense from you as to what's the state of customer engagement for MSMEs today. How do you kind of define that for MSMEs in the digital era?
Well, I don't think there is an answer that sort of can do justice to this. But the way I see this, I think customer engagement has sort of evolved to become much more participatory and customized, right? So if you really look at a lot of these small and medium sized enterprises, today they're extensively using digital platforms like WhatsApp Business API to connect with their customers, right? Gain insights from what they need, and then also going to an extent where they can offer tailored solutions, right? And where we sort of come in the whole place is that the platform that we offer sort of helps them deliver all of this, automate this, and then also deliver this at scale, respond to messages, etc., right? One of the outcomes for this is that because of, again, platform like WhatsApp and a lot of other competing platforms, these SMEs today are able to reach out to wider audience and engage with customers in real time. That is the most important thing that has sort of happened in last few years, right? So if you really look about customer engagement, this wasn't the case maybe 4 or 5 years back, right? So let's say if there was a D2C brand back then, and if you wanted to buy something from that D2C brand, the best that you could do back then was drop them an email, call them on the phone, hoping to see someone's going to pick up and answer and respond to your questions, or send them an email and then wait for days and weeks, right? But all of that has changed. People have become impatient. They need answers instantaneously, otherwise they move to a different brand. And today a lot of these SMEs are able to do that. Actually, what SMEs are also doing, they are sort of, just to ensure that they're able to, which is what I sort of said initially, that because it has become much more participatory and customized, they're also now sending targeted messages to their prospective customers and the customers that have bought from them. So not only they are working with their existing base to grow their return spent from these customers, but are also sort of targeting their targeted messaging to a lot of this new prospective customers, right? And the best part is, in both the cases, they get a instant feedback that what is working and what is not working. And I think in the long run, what is really going to happen is that because of this instant feedback and the fact that they're able to reach out to customers at scale, etc., these businesses, these SMEs, they'll be able to build stronger relationships with customers, right? And then also in the long run, not only this will help them build loyalty, but also sort of help increase the overall revenues. And I think that happens to be the P0 for a lot of these SMEs. This is what I think has happened in the last few years, and this is how the customer engagement sort of has evolved. If I were to sort of sum this up.
You're absolutely right. Digital's changed the way people are interacting, but it's also changed the number of platforms that are available. It's changed the spaces in which you can have customers. It's also kind of fragmented the customer, right? So some will be on one platform and some on another. And is there therefore a way in which SMEs can kind of, because budgets is always tight with SMEs. So is there a way that platform choice can be done depending on what kind of business you're in? Is there a way in which you can optimize platform choice when you're looking at businesses?
So I wouldn't know the exact numbers for the other platform, but I can definitely maybe give some insights about the WhatsApp Business API. So India is one of the priority markets for Meta worldwide, and majority of the user base for WhatsApp sits in India. Got a very active, engaging community that exists on WhatsApp, and people like you, me, we use this platform every day to not only talk to our parents, friends, etc., but also to now businesses, etc., right? In fact, there was this recently the article that was published. I remember reading, I think about a week back on Money Control and Economic Times, where our VP said, that there were about 65% participants like you and me who have interacted with businesses on WhatsApp, or use WhatsApp to interact with businesses every day. If you look at a city like Delhi or a Bangalore, you can now book tickets, metro tickets, right? You can do core banking. You can talk to brands for customer service. You can buy tickets. You can pay electricity bills. You can do basically whatever you used to do on all other offline channels, you can now do on WhatsApp. And the reason why all of these brands are embracing a channel like WhatsApp is because of the user base in this active community. So, to answer your question, I think if any brand is sort of looking to build loyalty and also ensure that they are able to build on the existing base, which is by that I mean they are able to cross sell, upsell, etc. I think WhatsApp is a great platform that they can look at to start some of these journeys. And as and when they progress with these journeys, and if they need a little more customization, they can work with partners, and these partners can help them build chatbots, a lot of AI powered agents, etc., which can address a very specific, custom tailored use case. But then the brands then can later decide what they want to sort of do in the long run. But I think WhatsApp is a good starting point for a lot of these brands, is how I would like to put it.
Is that precisely why you have so much of the channels and the communities and all of those new features getting added on to WhatsApp, which is enabling these businesses? Or how does that work? How do businesses leverage, let's say, for example, a channels or a community or the features that you have on WhatsApp?
Okay, so WhatsApp has three different flavors, right? There is this app that sits on most of our phones, right? The phone that you use or the phone that I use, and we use this app extensively to, again, that I mentioned before, to talk to our friends and family, right? Then there is an SMB app, which is largely used by these small businesses, and they use this app to not only sell their product but to also reach out to prospects in the form of by driving an outreach, a paid outreach, which they can do through a marketing message, or they can run a click to WhatsApp ad, which I'll talk about in a minute. And SMEs should definitely look at that. And the third is the WhatsApp Business API, which is what I was talking about, right? So, what a lot of businesses are doing today is ensuring that they have presence on WhatsApp Business API. And when they've sort of implemented WhatsApp Business API, they're able to drive communication at scale, which means if they have, let's say, a user base of 10, 20 million, they can instantaneously deliver messages, targeted messages to these 10, 20 million users, right? Let's say if there is an upcoming sale, so they can inform these users that there's an upcoming sale, and then users can make an informed decision about it. In case of an SMB app, which is what I was talking about earlier, and by the way, this is also available on API. What a lot of brands, especially SMEs in India, are doing is using a product called as click to WhatsApp ads. So think of an ad that is shown on our family of app, which is Instagram or Facebook, and then when someone clicks on that ad, they land a window within WhatsApp where they can interact through the brand. So think of, let's say, a D2C brand that is based out of Mumbai, showcasing their ad, and let's say they're very proficient in selling clothes, right, to a very specific targeted audience. And I'm part of that demographic, and I see that ad. I can now click that ad, and I'll be taken to their WhatsApp handle, and then I can talk to that brand, which again sort of does two things. One, not it only reinforces that this brand is legit, it helps me build that relationship. If there are any questions, the brand can answer there and then help me make a decision, relevant decision. But in the long run, the brand can use this information, or the fact that now I've spoken to them, they can use my number to retarget a personalized offer. So let's say I was interested in that piece of garment, but I didn't purchase it for whatsoever reason. A week down the line, the brand thinks, that Rachit, because we had a conversation with Rachit, and he was interested back then. Let's reach out to him in a form of a targeted marketing message and see if we can help him make that mind again. So they can sell me a very targeted marketing message through SMB app or an API. and then persuade me to make that decision, right? So this is how a lot of brands are using WhatsApp API and SMB app, and which is what I would sort of tell to a lot of these SMEs who are listening to this podcast, is that not only you should have a presence on API, but you should also look at leveraging API and the SMB app to also run click to WhatsApp ads. This will not only help you acquire users, but also ensure that you're able to retarget to this space later.
Okay. And so when you're talking about retargeting and when you're talking about doing all of that through WhatsApp, whether it's a API, the business API or the other piece, is it just about those kind of promotional conversations, or can they go beyond the how can SMEs leverage these solutions to build a better connection rather than just a sales pitch, if I may say that?
Thank you for asking this, right? So there's a very, very big misconception, that the brands can only use this platform to send out promotional messages. The answer is definitely no, right? If you look at a lot of other large brands, for instance, I mentioned earlier that people now in Delhi can pay their utility bills. They can book metro tickets, right? People in Bangalore can do that. People in Chennai can do the same, right? And then a lot of other different use cases, right? Brands can have automated responses, which means, let's say, if someone is talking to, someone sees this ad on Facebook or Instagram and clicks that ad, there could be an automated response, right? Which then further captures, let's say, few more things, right? So there could be an automated bot response that captures, and why I clicked that message, what kind of garment I'm interested in. Again, going back to that example, what color of garment I'm looking at, etc. Or they could have a very templatized response, right? So let's say you've got my number, I've bought that piece of garment from you. You can then, because I'm curious and I've paid money, my hard-earned money to you to buy this piece of garment, you can use the same channel like WhatsApp to send me information about when is the shipping happening. Is has the product been shipped? Who's going to be shipping this product? When will this get delivered, etc. Right? So brands are not using this platform for just promotion, but are also ensuring that they are building these other journeys that completes the entire customer life cycle. So in marketing, we've got a very common term, right? That what is that a brand doing to help customer make that decision, right? And then once the customer has made the decision, how is the brand helping customer actually execute that decision? And then once they've executed, how are you sort of ensuring not only you're retaining the customer, but also giving them a real-time feedback in terms of whether their product has been shipped, who will deliver it, etc. And then how you're re-engaging with the customer to ensure that you're able to do an upsell. So brands are using building journeys across all these different stages of a customer life cycle, right? And when I say brand, I'm not at all talking about large brand. I'm talking about the smallest of the smallest brand, right? So you won't believe, in early January, I was in Goa. So my wife's birthday is in third week, and I remember that I have to buy her something. And I remember I was at a shack in Goa, wondering what is that I need to buy, for her. And I remember that she is looking to buy a bag that she can take to work that accommodates her laptop and then few other things that she likes to carry to work. And I came across this brand, and but I was hesitant to make that purchase, right? Because it's the first time I've heard about that brand, but their bags were really, really good. So I went ahead and I saw this button on their website, and I clicked on that button that took me to their WhatsApp channel, and then I started talking to that person on that WhatsApp handle, and that person guided me, and I made that purchase, and the bag got delivered, and all the updates after that, whether the product has been delivered, the product has been packed, etc. All of that was delivered through that channel, so it sort of reinforced, what we're doing is the right thing, and the brands are sort of loving it, and it sort of also helped me, you know, make that decision, if I can say that, yeah.
So it's interesting because it's always a double-edged sword, right? This kind of communication that is available. Either the brand utilizes it really well, or something falls through the cracks and the customer gets pretty upset.
Yeah.
It could be either of the two spaces.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you've shared the example of, how a brand can kind of map the entire customer journey and uh, walk the customer through that or handhold the customer through that journey to make it a good experience. But has it ever happened that, somebody's actually had like a not so great journey on some offerings like these? And what do you recommend businesses should do to ensure that they stay and keep the customer experience really, really top notch and that things don't fall through the cracks? Are there some things that they should watch out for? Are there things they should put into their planning for these journeys?
So I think for a lot of brands, right, for a lot of SMEs, one thing that I will suggest is that everyone should really, really prioritize customer support and customer service, right? Because happy customer will help you get 10 new customers organically, right? So as opposed to really spending that money on marketing and sending out promotions, that no one's gonna see, it's better to reprioritize that spend to customer service, right? The fact that I spoke about that brand where I bought that bag from is a sort of, in two senses, a clear example of that, right? The only reason why I chose to give you that example and not maybe any other example is because I was really, really delighted with how they treated me and the fact that they were there for the entire journey and they kept me informed in terms of where that bag is, when it's going to get delivered, etc., right? And by the way, all of it was automated, right? So no one was really doing it. No one was just sitting and sending me these messages. It was all automated, right? So I think customer service and support is a no-brainer. I think then the other thing that a lot of SMEs should look at, and I think that applies to all kind of companies, not just to SMEs, is personalization is the key to success. So if your messaging is very generic, chances are that people are going to ignore that messaging. And if your messaging is very personalized, people are going to look forward to that messaging. Again, channels, platforms like WhatsApp Business API helps you build a lot more personalization and build relationship with the customers. So it's better if these brands can leverage a platform like WhatsApp Business API. But yeah, personalization is another area that a lot of these SMEs should focus. So I think if I were to rate this, customer service, and then the second would be personalization.
And so that's when you are a D2C brand, right?
Yeah,
But what if you're a B2B brand? How does that work with something like a WhatsApp business API?
yeah, that's a very good question, right? So let's look at an example for a brand that leverages WhatsApp Business API to send out all the employee communication on WhatsApp. So you and I come from a world that majority of the communication that we get from our employers is on emails, right? And then maybe an internal intranet portal. Today, a lot of these brands, moms and pop shops, Sohos, mid-size organizations, they're leveraging platforms like WhatsApp Business API to for all sort of outreach to their employees, right? So, for instance, what a lot of brands now started doing is that they have started sending an outreach on WhatsApp instead of sending them an email, so that because the eyeballs are already there and they're using this to talk to their friends and family, the employer also knows that they will see this message, right? Another interesting thing, which sort of happened with me, this happened about 3 years, 3.5 years back. I was approached by a headhunter, and that headhunter referred for a partnerships position and went ahead and scheduled an interview. Everything with respect to interview, right? The Zoom link on which my interview was scheduled, the person I was supposed to be talking to, all of it was shared to me by their official handle on WhatsApp. So I didn't have to scramble and look for all that on the emails. There was this interview scheduled. How do I find that email? All of it in a chronicle order was there on WhatsApp, right? So brands, the way they are using WhatsApp Business API also sort of surprises us at times, right? But yeah, these are just two examples that I could think of. One is something that I've experienced personally, but the other one is, yes, a lot of brands are doing it.
So now that you've said this, that brands surprise us, tell me one or two interesting ways that brands have used the WhatsApp Business API, which was completely unexpected at your end and has now become kind of like a case study within your organization, saying, hey, you can even do that. We never thought of it.
So it got a lot of examples, right? Delhi Metro, right? You can buy tickets and you don't have to stand in a queue, right? And it's something that's now being replicated across the country, right? Bangalore Metro has done this. Chennai Metro has done this. Let's talk about a pre WhatsApp and a post WhatsApp sort of scenario, right? So before WhatsApp, a person had to go to a metro station, stand in a queue, spend like 10-15 minutes, walk up to that machine, and that guy who's standing next to that machine, for some reason, that guy shouldn't be there, will say that he does not have chutta, and you need to get that change and get that ticket, right? So that will lead to a lot of frustration, right? And I've spent like 4 or 5 years in Bombay. Even in Bombay, right, you have these machines outside the stations, right, and there's a guy selling tickets there, right? So imagine that flight of that person who's standing in a queue for 15-20 minutes is already running late, and then realizes that there is no way he can get that ticket, right? Or the other way is that you get a smart card, and then most of the folks end up losing that smart card because no one uses metro regularly, right? They will use this when they think there's a lot of traffic on the road, so let's just take metro because that's comfortable, right? Now this is before WhatsApp. After implementing WhatsApp Business API, imagine I'm sitting in my home. I know that I have to go to Gurgaon for work and I have to buy a ticket. I can book the ticket at my home and go to metro station and board the train. That is it. I don't have to stand in the queue. I don't have to do anything. I just show my phone, the QR code, and that's it. I've taken that metro journey and I do the same when I'm going back. And imagine the amount of time that you can save, the amount of quality time that you can, this time that you saved, you can spend this time on so many other things, right? So this is one thing, that I think a lot of metro organizations in India, they're sort of doing already. And I think other interesting use case that I can think of at this stage is again a brand that is using WhatsApp for seat tickets. So imagine you booked a bus journey, and let's say you're going to Manali and you booked a Volvo ticket, and then you now want to book a seat, right? So who could have thought you can book or decide which seat you need to book, on in the bus through WhatsApp, right? Now you can, and this brand has basically built this entire UI leveraging one of the products that we rolled out within WhatsApp at Conversations late last year, which is WhatsApp Flows. But imagine someone booking a bus ticket and deciding that I want to sit on, let's say, seat number 16, and then sharing all of this on WhatsApp, right? So this is again very imaginative and very, very intuitive, something that people will use.
Have you found that WhatsApp Pay has kind of made a big difference to all the business that is happening within the WhatsApp piece? Or is it that there is, you still have to integrate with other APIs for payments and things like that?
So most of the brands, the large brands that I spoke about, right, Delhi Metro or this other brand, where you can select the seat, right, or the fact that you can pay utility bills. Most of them, they're now started embracing payments. Payments is in fact another thing that we announced at Conversations uh, late last year. So we're sort of partnering with few other large vendors, and we're basically productizing the whole integration piece so that a lot of these SME brands, a lot of these mid-size and large brands can quickly go live and sell their products and services through WhatsApp. So they don't have to have a separate purchase journey outside WhatsApp, but they can ask for payments. And they can look at payment methods, which is UPI, credit cards, net banking, all of that.
So it's really you're aiding most of the SMBs through their journey itself. So while it's the customer journey that they are really working hard towards, you're making sure that their journey from discovery to conclusion of sale is kind of being mapped by you. So I could keep asking you questions, but I'm going to ask you a little bit about the future. And I just want to understand that what are those new advancements or developments that you're seeing, which if SMBs were aware today, they could start thinking about it and capitalizing on these changes or adapting to these changes. What are the big shifts that you are seeing coming in the next, maybe a future for me is like 6 months to a year. I'm not going into the distant future, but in the next 6 months to a year, what is the kind of shifts that you're seeing happening?
In context to WhatsApp or in general?
In general, you can always talk about the changes in WhatsApp, but I would also like to get a slightly larger perspective of what's going to change so dramatically that, or what's going to change? Because everybody's talking about the pace of change being really rapid and everybody needs to adapt quickly to it. So, what are those things that will happen?
I think few journal observations or like trends, that I've seen that is happening in the whole marketplace. One thing that is highly sort of discussed and talked about is Gen AI. So I am pretty confident that we will see some sort of application for Gen AI across the industry. So when it comes to customer service, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to support, when it comes to, let's say, upsell, all of that, right? You will see some sort of influence, coming in from Gen AI, right? So think of, let's say, an AI bot doing customer service for you, and that bot is so basically what is really happening is, think of a scenario where the SME no longer will have to invest in hiring an expensive resource, training that resource, but this Gen AI agent will be able to go through the entire frequently asked questions, the entire question base that this organization wants this bot to be trained on, and they'll be able to answer questions in real time to people like you and me, right? So I think that will happen for sure. In fact, if you see a lot of these D2C brands, a lot of these large brands, right? A lot of their today responses are very AI generated, right? These are very not natural responses, right? When you go through them, you realize that these are not something that has been responded by humans. So I think we'll see a lot more of that generally. So definitely there'll be some sort of influence from Gen AI. I think other than that, customer service will play a very, very important role. And which is why a lot of brands have started investing in ensuring they're able to build loyalty with their existing users, and also then use this loyalty to drive and command premium, right? The only way you can build business in the long run, if you have customers that are willing to pay you premium, right, and sort of helps you grow overall pat and stuff like that, right? So unless you have that, you cannot really scale a business, right? And what a lot of brands have realized, that while it makes sense to sell a lot more of the respective services and products, if they're not able to retain customers, then they'll just keep losing on money, and they'll just keep burning money, and they'll not be able to really make their businesses profitable, right? So I think that is another change that we will see in about 6 to 8 months, or maybe a little longer. And I think a lot of brands have already sort of started focusing on that.
When you're talking about the art of customer engagement, and like you said, retention is very important and building loyalty is very important, especially in today's day and age where loyalty seems to be dying from at least the customer's end. They're just spoiled for choices, and therefore brands have to work harder at earning the loyalty of customers versus, in the good old days, I gave you the points and you became loyal because that's the way it was. I think the power has changed. Today, the power is more in the hands of the customer, and therefore brands will have to work harder to earn loyalty. What are the things that you would caution SMEs on, saying that in this whole journey of retention and loyalty, are there things to watch out for? And are there things like, or are there tech solutions that they should be optimizing to make sure that they retain their customers and keep earning their loyalty?
Okay, so I think to answer your first question, the things that they should not take for granted or should sort of look out for, think they cannot take their customers for granted. I don't think we live in that era where they can just simply go about ignoring their customers, because one bad review leads to not only one bad experience, but also churn, natural churn across like different prospects, etc. Right? So definitely they cannot take customers for granted. They need to ensure that they're driving a very relevant and a personalized messaging to their existing audience, and also to the prospects that they're trying to onboard for their specific product service, right? This applies to B2B, B2C both. And I think, to answer your second question, right, which is what kind of technology or a platform, these organizations can look at to ensure that they're able to sort of deliver all of this. WhatsApp Business API is definitely one platform, along with the SMB app. Depending upon if you are a small SOHO, etc., then you should look at a WhatsApp SMB app. But if you are a sizable business and you're looking to drive outreach at scale, and then move customer service on WhatsApp and a lot of different use cases on WhatsApp, then you should definitely look at WhatsApp Business API. What will help in the long run is that the more personalization that you build, the more relationship that you build with your customers in the long run, that will help you to be not only profitable, but also will help you to grow your customer base and increase your overall revenues, right? So I think that is how I look at it, and platforms again like WhatsApp can help you deliver that in the long run.
So it's quite interesting because we started with saying the art of customer engagement, but I feel like I'm ending on a note which says there's the science of customer engagement. And the science is really a lot of technology to customer engagement.
This right, but at the end of it, really sort of boils down to the objective that you have, right? And then for someone whose objective is to grow revenue, I think revenue is a byproduct of how you bring in customers, how you retain customers, how you engage with customers, and then what do you ensure so that your customers are happy, right? So technology can enable all of this, but then it really sort of boils down to how you handle the farmer, right? And which is why I sort of was emphasizing on the other two things.
Great. Rachit, it was absolutely wonderful having this conversation with you. Thank you for putting sense to the art and the science and the tech of customer engagement for us. I'm sure all of the SMBs are going to start, if they've not already started on WhatsApp Business API, they're going to definitely look at it after this conversation today. And, it's really amazing what and how things have changed in the last couple of years, thanks to WhatsApp and other such platforms, on how small businesses have been able to find customers all over the country. So, thank you once again for this conversation. An absolute pleasure. We hope that we'll see you on the Do Big podcast again soon.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me. I hope I did some justice to the questions that you had for me, and these SMEs were able to make a sense of how they can leverage platform like WhatsApp, and maybe how they can go about building their businesses and growing revenues.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in to the Do Big podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to providing insights, strategies, and success stories of smart digital solutions for SMEs. We believe that behind every successful business, there's a strong foundation of reliable and secure technology, be it digital connectivity, cloud infra, cloud apps, collaboration tools, or cybersecurity solutions. In a rapidly evolving digital world where technology is key to progress, Tata Tele Business Services stands at the forefront of digital transformation of SMEs. Tata Tele Business Services, with their extensive experience and commitment to empowering businesses, understands the unique needs of SMEs. Tata Tele Business Services, with their extensive experience and commitment to empowering businesses, understands the unique needs of SMEs. Whether it's scalable connectivity, robust communication tools, or tailored ICT solutions, Tata Tele Business Services is here to propel your business forward. Tata Tele Business Services is synonymous with innovation, reliability, and transformative solutions. With a legacy spanning decades, Tata Tele Business Services has been empowering businesses and transforming lives across the nation. So, if you're ready to take your organization to new heights of success, we encourage you to explore the transformative possibilities that Tata Tele Business Services has to offer. Our contact details are in the description below. Remember, we're available on all major podcast platforms. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, subscribe to our podcast for future episodes, which we promise will be packed with equally valuable insights on questions entrepreneurs face as they digitize and scale businesses with the help of technology. Don't forget to rate and review our podcast, as well as share it with peers, colleagues, and other entrepreneurs like yourself who will benefit from listening to it. Thank you for listening to us, and until the next time, keep embracing technology and may your business thrive in the digital era.